all Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to rebuild our country. Jiggy, jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or labor rights, our God loves all of we. We are marching on to progress. I'm down, happy all of we. Everything Melissa broke down, we are gonna build back. We are gonna build back better than before. Every house we broke down, we are gonna build back. 'Cause our God have blessings in store. Time come to rebuild together. 'Cause Jamaica is our home. We are stepping out the darkness into the light. We're gonna build stronger roof and door.
Good morning, Liberates, and good morning to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Laborite alive. Good morning, my people. Good morning. Now, we're going to talk about, the building back of Jamaica. We're going to talk about self-reliance this morning. Before we get into that though, we're going to roll out the morning shoutouts and we're going to listen to a clip that the Prime Minister did. We're going to break it down as per usual. But before we get into that, we have a few other clips to listen to. Obviously, this live is about giving information to the masses. So, persons need to share the content. Remember, guys, we are building back the channel from scratch because the storm mash up a whole lot of views and mash up everything. So it did not just mash up Jamaica, it mash up my platform as well. See, because we couldn't get to do the lives, but we're not dwelling on that. We're going to build back because we are resilient people and we are strong people. See, so we're going to build back Jamaica and we're going to build back up my platform as well. See, so let's roll out the morning shout outs, my people, and then let's get into it. See, so Keisha, good morning. Good morning to my beautiful mother-in-law. Good morning, mommy. Lifestyle Politics, good morning to my moderator. Good morning. Sonia, big up yourself. Or Sonia, big up yourself. Elaine, Alan, big up yourself. Karine, big up yourself. Nairan, big up yourself. Dwight, big up yourself. June, big up yourself. Elodie, big up yourself. Nardia, big up yourself. Good morning. Guys, remember as you enter, just hit the thumbs up button. Liking the live helps to promote the live, my people. So the more likes the live get, it tells YouTube that persons like this live. So YouTube start referring it to other people so they can come and have a look as well. That is the purpose of liking the live. Jai McNeil, good morning. And welcome back to you as well. See, so let's get into it, my people. We're going to go to the first clip of today. See, so listen to this.
This base, sir, is the main human support area for the parish of St. Elizabeth, and it was established less than 48 hours subsequent to the passing of Hurricane Melissa.
Yes.
Currently, we have just over a battalion strength of individuals living here, members of the JDF, the Ghanaian Armed Forces, and the Guyana Defense Force, totaling just under 300 individuals. For the warehouse itself, sir, we operate on the linear approach of warehousing, where we have trained persons in logistics and stores that manage the facilities.
So you say first in, first out?
Yes, sir. So the different from the first in, first out, given that it's building material. What we operate is how it comes in and how it goes out, and so we can have accountability.
Okay.
So we have persons that are in charge of receival, persons that are in charge of dispatch, and we manage how we do that, sir, both electronically and we have the paper trail that goes accordingly. This entity, sir, is a collaborative effort. Similar to what you spoke of earlier. The tent that you're seeing belongs to the World Food Program. They came and set it up. To your right, sir, we have items from, and if we turn back about, so there are items from Chemtech and New Era, yes, that are within the space here.
Excellent.
Also, we have building material, we have paint, we have drums for areas that we assess that needs waters, and then we go out and we distribute accordingly. Currently, we have the engineers working in their compound area, and this is where they get their material from, as well as in Black River and the Middle Quarter space.
Excellent. I'm glad you mentioned this. I'll take the opportunity just to say and to clear up some misconceptions, or where there is not enough public knowledge about how the donations and wares and the materials are managed. ODPEM is the entity of government that receives all material donations to the government. ODPEM is also the entity that manages individual private donations come to their account. So they manage both the cash donations and the in-kind material donations. So this is the entity of the government, and there is a set accountability mechanism that ensures it is properly managed. ODPEM itself does not physically keep all the donated materials. That is kept mostly between the JDF and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, most with the JDF. And the JDF further will pre-position those materials in various warehouses or forward operating bases like these, which forms part of what they call hub and spoke strategy. So this might be a hub, and there might be several other smaller forward operating bases in other areas. So for example, a Kongpong would be supplied from here. So this is the hub, and a Kongpong would be the spokes and all the other areas around. And so I want the public to be aware of this. So when you see all the nonsense on social media about how things are donated and how they're used, they're foolishness, rubbish, nothing like that. This is managed to the highest level of probity, accountability, and standards. And the JDF and ODPEM work quite independently to ensure that whatever is donated is used for the purpose. Every length of 2x4, every sheet of zinc or sacking or ply is accounted for, and all of it is on the roof of someone's house that has been assessed by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security as being in need. We are very proud of that. That is very important to our reputation, and it is also very important to be able to account to the people who have donated to us, because, you know, you have to be preparing for the future. You don't want to mishandle what you were given today in the event that something happens again, and then people say to you, well, you didn't manage what I gave you the last time. So we are ensuring that there is the highest level of probity. No one will be able to cast any doubt or aspersions on the process of managing materials that have been donated and financing that has been donated.
So I wanted to play that clip so you guys can hear from the Prime Minister himself. You know, oftentimes he get accused of being a thief, and really and truly, the persons who accuse him of being thieves, they themselves are the persons who accuse him of being a thief. They themselves are thieves, and their mothers are thieves, their fathers are thieves, their great-grandfather and great-grandmother are thieves themselves, and because they cannot trust themselves to not thief nothing, you know, they cannot believe, you know, it is beyond their belief that you can finally have a Jamaican Prime Minister that would not put his hand in the Jamaican people purse. You know, this is the most transparent Prime Minister that we have ever seen in Jamaica, and this is why Jamaica has came such a far way in a short time, because he's transparent and he's here to build the country, not to take from it. And we can see it in his everyday action. We see that he's not here for money. If he was here for money, like Mark Golding, you know, he would have taken his pay rise. You know, he's here to look after the Jamaican people and look after Jamaica's best interests. I must thank God for a Prime Minister like Andrew Holness. You know, so I saw a few persons enter the chat while we were playing the clip. So big up yourself, Edwin. Ronald, big up yourself. Mama Winsome, good morning. Casey, big up yourself. Arkesia, big up yourself. I see somebody called Monkey chatting rubbish. Big up yourself, Monkey, as well. So no, big up yourself. Our son of something, I don't know. Big up yourself. Warrell, big up yourself as well. Pink Rose, big up yourself. And Jamaica 2341, big up yourself. Good morning. See? So listen to this, my people.
No leader feels free to speak out because Trump's ability to apply punishment, whether through tariffs, through access restrictions, has left every country in shivers. And I'm in a position, as a former head of government, I'm in a position where I can say what I have said. The Prime Minister can't say that. No Prime Minister in CARICOM can say that. Because the retribution that would have been unleashed on them would have been instantaneous. The only retribution that can be unleashed on me is to revoke my US visa. And if that is the case, well, so be it. Yeah. But I believe that there are some things that have to be said, and they have to be said by persons who are in a position where they can say that. I am in that position. CARICOM Prime Ministers are not. Well, the PNP is not in government, and therefore they are not subject to the constraints that I think face all CARICOM countries. But the PNP is also mindful of the risks of offending the United States. So it's one thing to tease the government and to pressure the government, but I believe that the opposition understands that if they were in power, they could not take a different position because the consequences would be too severe.
That's Jamaica. That's Jamaica. Yes. Independent.
And that's Jamaica. Independent.
So here I'm at liberty to agree with Bruce Golding. You know, people are scared, people are shivering in their boots because they're scared of Donald Trump. I see Donald Trump as nothing more than a petulant dictator. You know, I don't travel to America. I don't go to America for any reason. You know, I have plenty of family there on both sides of the divide. And ever since I was a youth man, I saw the Americans as a set of warmongering people that walk through the world and look problem and create difficulties for other places. So I personally, although I do not hate the American people, I do not like what they stand for as a people and what they allow to happen in their country. Look how Donald Trump is behaving. You know, but I am at liberties to agree with Bruce Golding. I am also at liberties to agree with our Prime Minister who is currently leading the nation, my people. So we're going to break down his speech as well. And, you know, big up Papa Bruce Golding. Everybody knows I am a hardliner myself. But when it comes to running a country and minding our business, you know, that's me as well. So while I might agree or disagree with things that they did in private, had I been running Jamaica, had I been a part of running the operations of Jamaica, I would be, you know, minding Jamaica's business. It is important that we mind our business and build our nation. It's the building of our nation that will keep us, you know, from needing purses like Donald Trump. See? So listen to this, my people.
Someone coming to our broadcast booth. We are at his office, the office of the Prime Minister, Bob. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So, you know, he's a big man. So I have to go to him. Thank you very much, Bob. Good afternoon,
all right.
Prime Minister.
Good afternoon, Cliff. I haven't seen you in a little while.
Yes, you're too busy.
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
Actually, yes. It's,
Busy running Jamaica.
Yes, a lot of things to do.
Yes.
But, we have our hands firmly on the wheel.
On the ship of state.
Yes.
Well, let me begin with what we are here today with. The Shelter Recovery Program.
Yes.
Big up yourself, Melody. Good morning.
Extremely important. People are still, some people, too many people.
Too many. Yes.
Yeah. So having the sky as their roof. Yeah. What essentially, as Prime Minister of Jamaica, are you saying to those people who have lost their houses, lost their roofs? A young woman who called me yesterday on behalf of her mother, somewhere in Old Harbor. She's registered. The people from the Ministry of Social Security came, took her number, but she hasn't heard a word from them since.
So she will be hearing. The launch is symbolic, the start, but work was being done 4 weeks before. So in a few more days, the calls will be going out for persons to either receive a check, they may receive a text on their phone, because we're using several modalities, meaning several ways to get the vouchers or the checks to them. So it might be digital, or some maybe have to be physical, but the calls will start to go out and people will start to be able to access the financing.
And how many people have so far registered and that the government is seeking?
So it's not, it's an assessment. So they have assessed over 70,000 households. And so they would have, as you said, taken numbers, they would have looked at the damage, got a sense of the needs. So now they will be making the calls, right? Now, the total damage in terms of number of households, very difficult to gauge. If we use satellite imagery, that could be as high as 150,000. That's a lot. If you were to say, 3 or 4 per household. And that's why the assessment is critical, that you have to go out and physically inspect the damage. And that's what we've been doing. And so we have physically inspected 70,000 plus households.
Tell me, how much you can do? How much can the government of Jamaica do?
God, I mean, I want to give hope, but I don't want to be unrealistic.
Yes.
So which is why we've started with the most severely affected. That's where the effort is going to be. So there might be some persons who are minor damage, sheets of zinc. They may have lost the roof over one room. The house is still structurally sound and shelter is still viable. They can put up a tarp and they will be able to survive. But, when you think of an elderly lady and she has lost her total house, a 2-bedroom, and everything is gone, we want to get to that person first. We should be able to address everyone who has total loss. We should be able to address, I would say, upwards of 80 to 90% of those who have some major loss, address in terms of getting the grant to them. And then we will deal with the minor as we are able to.
And the grant, you have a maximum amount of grant.
Yes. So one of the reasons why we couldn't start earlier is that we didn't want to commit to an amount, not knowing what the overall would be. So, when we started, it was looking, a particular distribution. So we would have maybe 30% of those assessed would need full grants of $500. But as you progress through the assessments, you would find maybe that figure would change. All right. So you don't want to commit too early to the category. So we are at this critical point now where we can commit to the category, because as we assessments, the categorization isn't changing. So you have reached that level of saturation. So now 500,000 is the maximum that we can give for a severely damaged household that is assessed. 200,000 for what we call major damage, and for minor damage, 75,000. Now, just a qualification, the restoration of the household is not just the rehabilitation of the restoration of the roof. Some people may need furniture. They suffered water intrusion. Some persons need to get their kids back to school. That's their priority, and their kids may have lost all their uniforms and their school books. So some of the grant that we're giving, we're going to make it unrestricted, meaning that you can use it for things other than roofing, hardware material, or restoration of your roof. Now, we encourage persons, even with that $75,000, which we call the rehabilitation portion, to use it for things that are going to put you in a meaningful position, right? I know that a part of the response to trauma, sometimes, people might say, you know what, I'm going to have a drink, and you end up at the bar. I'm just using an extreme example, obviously, but, don't do things that are not going to help you in the recovery. Yeah.
How satisfied are you so far?
Guys, we have to like up a live, There's 103 of us. See if you can get me to at least 50 thumbs up. So hit the three that right hand corner of the screen, hit the thumbs up button, R. If you can't see the thumbs up button, just hit it, R, double tap the phone screen, and, like the live, please.
Now, the government bureaucracy has been working in responding to the needs.
Let me say this. We must acknowledge and give high commendations to the first responders, to the staff members who themselves suffered damage, but were still out there. Without question, Jamaica has committed hardworking public servants and civil servants, without question. Generally, however, there is a challenge with our bureaucracy. And bureaucracy is not a bad thing. I mean, bureaucracy is one of the characteristics of civilization. It's a characteristic of a modern society. There is a bureaucracy. The challenge is, however, that bureaucracy of itself can become self-serving, meaning that the bureaucracy exists to make sure that the I's dotted and the T's crossed, not that the letters come together to spell a word.
I want to take a pause right here to say, I want to keep in mind what the Prime Minister is saying, because when I start playing it, persons might enter and people might not immediately remember what we were talking about. But let me just say this before we forget it, before I forget it. I am watching Jamaica 2341 and Lifestyle Politics conversating in the chat. I want to say to Jamaica 2341 that, if we as a people sit down and watch tyranny, no, can Jamaica defeat America? No. Does that mean we should sit down and not say anything when we see them with a tyrannical leader that come to destroy the world? Because that is Trump's mission. Had we been a people like that, we would not have Sam Sharp, would have not had Nanny of the Maroon, we would not have had people like, Nelson Mandela, we would have not had people like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Are we scared that, am I scared that America is going to assassinate me? No. Is Bruce Golding scared that America is going to assassinate him? No. But we sit down as a people and watch tyranny. The Americans would have never allowed anybody else in the world to behave like that. And they have always operated like that, believe it or not. They just did it through soft power and did it behind the scenes. Trump is just bringing it to the forefront. Now, it might have been because of what Bruce Golding said that Jamaica ended up on the list of persons who will not be getting green cards. It could possibly be because of what the PNP said in previous times, why Jamaican people are not going to get green cards. Who cares? Stay on a yard. Fix up on a yard. Make we fix up Jamaica. It is the fixing of Jamaica that will stop these tyrants like Trump and dictators like Trump, from disrespecting our people. See, it is when we fix up our country and build our finances, we can build a fighting army that can repel them in the future if they so decide to come and try to mess with us. See, it is by building of our nation that we will stand on our 2 feet. I will not need their trade. We will not need anything. We can build ourselves. And that is the position that we must get our country to. We continue to listen to the Prime Minister.
In other words, they are focused on the form and not the function. They're focused on the process and not the results. In a disaster, that can be a challenge because you really need to get to the people who are suffering, but you have to pay attention to process. Because at the end of the day, if you don't pay attention to process, you will be able to help less people. That's the reality.
Right.
So we have had this balancing act of trying to, as best as possible, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, whilst quickly delivering benefits. And I will never say that we couldn't do better. I think we
So
can.
where are you with the national institution to really oversee the recovery?
As I said
You
earlier,
have been
everything
promising to give us the details.
everything is being done in parallel. So I will be coming to the nation shortly, as I will do with enough significant where you'll get all the details. Some of that has to be carefully planned. And to be truthful, I have had to give a lot of thought to it directly. It's going to be a kind of new organization, new effort, and I have to make sure that some of the nuances and the political sensitivities and all of these issues are addressed, because you don't want to start and then you run into a roadblock. I have taken on, large transformational things before, and then you end up in a political roadblock. So I'm trying to make sure that this one, which is so critical to our national development, that it has full support and that it is on sound grounds legally. So when it starts, it's just...
And by full support, it means that you're consulting with all the stakeholders, including
it will be
the private sector, the opposition.
It has to have that.
Lifestyle. Funny enough, you said that I was sent an article done by the Jamaica Observer last night. I believe you guys will see it sometime today. And in that article, licenses were granted to a company that we have all heard about that is drilling for oil in the Walton Basin that is in Jamaica's waters. And they believe up to 3 billion barrels of oil is in the Walton Basin. See, I will read an excerpt from that probably for tonight live. See, so potentially we ourselves, we might be at risk from Donald Trump. See, so because what Donald Trump did to Venezuela, is very illegal. But who is the authority of the world? Who can go behind it and say that America can't do that? See, we must not allow for our things to be taken away by tyrants and dictators. We must silently build a nation and build up with resources. That is how we will get away from things and people like Donald Trump, who are tyrants and dictators, and they are thieves as well. See? So what we need to do now is silently build our country. But that does not say that when we see something that is wrong, we cannot speak out against it. That's not what I am saying. That is what Jamaica 231 is saying, that we should be very scared, we should be afraid, and we should shiver in our boots from people like Donald Trump. No. If we were like that as a people, we probably not would have had people like Bob Marley, and many others throughout the time that have speak out against or have spoken out against tyranny. See? And have etched their name in history. And Jamaica have benefited from that significantly. And we have had other people throughout the world that have not sat down idly and watched tyranny, and they suffered greatly for it. See? But we must be a people now that get together and build up our country, build our resources, and that is how we will get away from things like that. we continue to listen to the Prime Minister.
Think about it. Our GDP is anywhere between 20 and 21 billion dollars. All right,
US.
We potentially could spend $6.7 billion in between 3 to 5 years doing reconstruction.
Yeah.
And if you do it in a synergistic way, in other words, you could get more than the value you spend. So this is an opportunity for us to increase our GDP by even as much as 50%.
So you're ensuring that the opposition is on board.
So the opposition has to be on board. I mean, look, let's be practical. You're never going to get the opposition on board fully with anything, but at least you want to be in a position where transparency can address any form of cynicism.
I want to tell my Prime Minister this morning that the Jamaican people, the masses of Jamaica, voted for you. We are with you. You have a majority. Meaning, for persons who don't know, more people agreed with the JLP than what agreed with the PNP at the last election. Now, I am saying to my government that we, the regular juggler people of Jamaica, understands what the government needs to do. And if at any time the government comes up at a roadblock where the People's National Criminal Organization is trying to halt the progress of our nation, I am instructing my government, and I'm sure many of us here will do too, to press along without the opposition. Just go ahead. We do not care even if it is illegal. Please fix up our country and leave the opposition one side. They are not a set of nation builders. They are not patriots. They are not here to build our nation. They are here to tear it down. And we must not allow it. So even if they are not on board, even if they are not in agreement with it, please press ahead. We, the Jamaican people, will benefit, and our children and grandchildren will benefit from good governance and from whatever good that this government happens to create out of all of this for us in the future. See, we trust you wholeheartedly, and we believe that you guys are here to fix. We see it with crime, we see it with everything. So we trust you to build the country. So press along, my government. Press along. See?
Address any form of cynicism.
The question of rebuilding with more resilience embedded, yeah? For example, roofing and construction. Where are we with that? What's the guideline? What's the policy?
So look, Jamaica's building laws are there already with resilience built in. The last iteration of our Building Act would have these things in there, you know. So it's not a problem of legislation. It is a problem of enforcement. That's what it is. So that's one. The authority is there, but can they enforce? Do they have the staff, do they have the means, do they have the surveillance to enforce? So that's one. And the second issue is public education. Is the public aware? You know, we can't take it for granted. You know, everybody's putting up a house and people are building, putting ply and lumber, but do they actually understand that there are ways to strengthen your home against Category 5 or Category 4 hurricane if you just do these simple steps? So the mainstreaming of proper construction knowledge is something that we're going to have to do. In other words, we want to make it a culture. Now, sometimes, you know, events create culture. Without question, Hurricane Gilbert created this culture of a slab roof. Right? I grew up in Hurricane Gilbert. You obviously were a big man at that time. I was just a teenager. I looked through my window, peered through my window during Hurricane Gilbert, and saw a roof did like this. Took off. So and from then, you know, my preference has always been, you know, slab, concrete. But even that, you have to build with a certain engineering. Right. As well. So
because of earthquakes are
because of earthquakes. So the knowledge of construction needs to be more widespread. But then there's another issue now which we have to pay attention to, which we didn't have to consider during the time of Hurricane Gilbert, and that was climate-related events. I'm not going to get into the argument about whether or not climate change is anthropogenic, but what is clear is that we are experiencing more frequent and more intense and more overlapping climate events. That is without question.
Yes.
And the only way to treat with that, aside from the adaptation and other strategies, is resilience. Right? So we have so resilience is not just about the ability to recover quickly from a shock or a disaster. It's about taking decisions that do not put you in harm's way. And so the drive for people to find somewhere to live. People are finding marginal lands. They're going into swamps. They're going on steep hillsides. They're going into places where they don't think anybody's going to see them. And so they think they can live there safely. What this storm has done is to say if you build in an area that is susceptible, that is prone to disaster, there is no safety for you. That is the reality. And so the government can't say, I'm blaming you for being there. The government has to take a position to say, all right, we need to provide safe places where you can get access to build. That is what the recon.
You know, as the Prime Minister said that to me, I was speaking to two relatives, my aunt and my cousin boyfriend, so my cousin-in-law, you know, and there was a young man sitting in the shop where we were conversating, and my cousin-in-law said to the young man, that all of the houses that we saw in Landilo and those places were sold to the people in Landilo. So I said to him, were they giving away for free? He said that they were sold for $6,000. $6,000 and a nothing. I said, were they giving away for free? Now, in the PNP's time, they charged $6,000. $6,000 was a lot of money then. You know, under this administration, houses that are worth anywhere from $13 to $18 million are being given to citizens for free. Which government is better? One that sells it to you or one that gives it to you for free? He then said to me that they are the government when you're dead. Because this is the argument of the PNP in Westmoreland, and I've heard it several times while I was down there. When you are dead, government take your land and take your house and give it to other people. So I said to him, when you're dead, can you use the house or the land? No, but me pitney them. So I said, we have two separate programs. One run by Desmond Mackenzie and one run by the Prime Minister. The one that runs by Desmond Mackenzie, when you get one of their house there and you're dead, that house does not go to your family because it is not yours. You are giving it for life. And after life, it goes back to the municipality, to the locality. See? The one that the Prime Minister gives to you, the Prime Minister asks you to find a piece of land or get permission to use the land, and they will build you that home and give you a title for that home, and that home is yours, and you can pass that on to your kids and to your family. The one that Desmond Mackenzie gives you, that is a parish council house. That house, it does not belong to you after death. After death, it goes back to the state, and the state will decide who or what or when to give it. See, the one that the Prime Minister is giving to you, that one is yours. Two separate housing program. See? So I wanted to point that out as the Prime Minister said that just now.
Good. For example, Black River.
Yes.
Where are you going to rebuild Black River?
So Black River is the legacy of our colonial history. When Black River was conceived, nobody was thinking about climate change. You know, it was not an issue. When Black River was conceived, nobody was thinking that Jamaica would have so many cars. That we would need to have wider roads, and that we would face these kinds of issues with hurricane and so forth. So if we were to build Black River today, we wouldn't build it where it is currently located, because we have the knowledge and the experience of what is to come and what has happened. So many years ago, 2016, 17, I'd given a directive to the UDC to identify where the third city could be built in Jamaica. Because we do have a kind of spatial development plan for Jamaica and an urbanization plan. And we recognize that all our towns, many of them are centuries old and weren't built for purpose, where they can't supply.
One such town, Lucy, as well, will be moving from where it is. See? So, nobody say Andrew got tear down Lucy now and build a smart city. Lucy have a problem with the sea because the sea is now nearing into the land. So, Lucy will have to be moved as well, my people. And several other local coastal towns, they'll have to be moved from off the coastline, my people. See? So, not only Black River, but, places in Hanover will have to move off the coastline. One such place is the town of Lucy, my people, in Hanover.
Can't sufficiently carry the purpose today. And the last time we built a town was Louisville in St. Elizabeth. In response to the build quarters, Newmarket flooding. So we asked the UDC to do this work, and they came up with an area in St. Elizabeth, which is very close to Black River. I don't want to give too much details. I'm very reluctant because anything I say can change how markets work, and so I have to be very
price of land.
Which defeats the purpose of having a.
So it's going to be more inland.
Yes, we can say that it will be more inland. Yes.
Prime Minister, the issue that we heard yesterday, Jamaicans who are now in the process of applying for immigrant visas.
Yes.
Their lives are now upended.
Yes.
How is the Jamaican government? How are you responding in terms of making a case for Jamaicans? Because the thesis is that they could be a likely public charge on the American purse, taxpayers' purse. Jamaicans are industrious. We're notorious.
Yeah, I want to give a little bit of clarity to that as well. When persons, insinuate or allude to that Jamaicans are persons who rely on public purse. Some of that is true, and I've seen it here in the UK as well. We have Jamaicans who come here and they're on benefit. They abuse the benefit system. While that is true, the vast majority of Jamaicans, we are industrious people. We come to foreign lands with a mission, and that mission oftentimes do not work out how we plan it, but the mission is to return home. We spend every dollar, and we take the time, and we panka, we build up a place. And, sometimes how foreign lands operate, it would mean that you would live your whole life and all before you get to come back to where you want to come back to. However, Jamaican people, for persons to say that we are scroungers, maybe the ones that, who are PNP, them can't change. But the vast majority of us, we are not scroungers. We are industrious people. We are hardworking people. And if I even shit, we are going to scrape up. We are at work doing it because we have our loved ones. If you just look at the tax receipt, if you look at the what the fancy word for the money transfer coming home back to us. We're gonna call that again. Saying if you look at the receipts from Western Union and MoneyGram and RIA and Remitly and all of these things. Remittance. See? If you look at the remittance tax receipt, you'll see that many billions have been sent home. Not only through America, but through Britain, through Canada, through other smaller countries. We work and we send home money. And a thief, we are thief, and a benefit a give we. See, we are work and we are sending home money. So we don't bright on self food we over America and rink on self food we. See, we are industrious people. Just like Uno once were, in the 1930s. When the Great Depression happened and the American people had to go to work. Right? We have always been a hard-working set of people. It is just a few when have no ambition, and those persons are normally affiliated with the PNP. This is how the PNP operates. They believe that people put on something for them, and them go at people foreign place, go believe that people put on something for them, and they must take it. See, that is not how the vast majority of Jamaicans operate. It's only a minute set. They are in the minority, but they're very loud. And some of them are criminal, some of them are drunk, they have no ambition. And it is those ones that make it bad for the rest of us. See? People like the Rasta there, who had a whole singing career that made millions from it, but was too greedy and had to go and take up drugs. People like them make things bad for the rest of us, my people. See? So we continue to listen.
Jamaicans are industrious. We're notorious for doing 2-3 jobs in America. We don't fall in that category. How are you responding? We're going to respond.
Well, first, there are some things, and I'm happy you've given me the time and with a certain amount of leisure to respond. Because
Sure.
these subjects require thoughtful responses.
Sure.
When I was growing up, which is not so long ago, all of my friends wanted to go to the United States. They all wanted to migrate. And even when I was at university, all of my friends wanted to migrate. They just could not see a future here in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I never took that view. I thought I will stay in Jamaica, I'll work in Jamaica, and I will make the best for my people and my country. It is not that they were unpatriotic and I was somehow superior in my patriotism. No, I think there was just a sense of frustration with the nation. And I think that sense of frustration would have carried for many decades and many generations. And it was in the interest of receiving countries for many years to use Jamaican labor, to use Jamaican talent, to build their GDP.
People like Britain who use and abuse Jamaicans for 60 years. After World War II happened, they sent for many of our ancestors, many of our granny and great-granny and great-great-granny. They sent for them. They were here in the cold. Then drive bus. Them sweep the streets. Them clean the toilets, public toilets, toilet in a McDonald's. Then flip burger in a McDonald's. Them serve chicken in a KFC. I feel people then walk with the street cat them and pick up the garbage. I feel people them even till this day when I go into the care homes. It is the blacks that works in the majority in the care homes looking after elderly white people. You know, when and white, your family, your relative then come and then dash you down and then come back until a time for them fight over where you're dead left. See, it is our people that works in the supermarkets that stock the shelves same way. It is us that builds these nations. When you're going to the hospitals, it is our people who are nurses, you know, some Asians as well. You know, it is us that build places like Britain. Not only then in the 60s, but way before that. And all we have gotten is disrespect. You know, look at the Windrush situation where they send for our people, and when they got old and could not serve them anymore, they displaced them and send them back to a Jamaica that none of them knew. You know, persons that was born here that have not traversed to Jamaica not even one time in their life were sent back to Jamaica because they don't use and abuse we already. It is important that us as a people will continue to build our nation, and that is why I can never follow behind a person like Mark Golding. I can never get up and say I want to see a man with the skin tone of Mark Golding running my nation. It is important that Andrew Holness stays there, and it is him that is building our nation, and it is him that grew up and saw all of the bullshit that happened in Jamaica, and it is him now that is coming to clear it. So all of the people then we say PNP and say Mark Golding, you hold on as a set of junk and an ambition, and kiss me ass. Sorry, at 2026. We continue to listen to the Prime Minister, my people.
Became Prime Minister second time around. I visited Cayman. And I was in Cayman, they were having a celebration there, and they invited me to be a guest. And it struck me that more than half of the population in Cayman could claim either being Jamaican or having Jamaican heritage. A developed society that relies on Jamaican talent. And it's not just Cayman. You could go all around the Caribbean. You could go all around the world and see what Jamaican talent has accomplished when paired with good government and opportunity. So the problem was never the people. The problem was always what governments do and the opportunity they create. Somebody has to stay here and fix government and create opportunity. Because it is not always going to be in the interest of the receiving country to have immigration. Because remember, they received immigration on the basis that it was a net benefit to their economy. Now, I cannot make any prescription as to how Americans or any other society view immigration, nor whether or not it's a net benefit to their society.
There's 170 of us, guys, and see if you can get me to at least 70 thumbs up. Please hit the double tap the phone screen or just hit the like button and see if you can get me to 70 thumbs up. We ask for 100 per live, but the live continues, so we are hoping to eventually get there. So if you are in the live and you have not hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe as well if you are here for the first time, you know.
Whether or not it helps with not just diversity, but with innovation and the cost of labor and so forth. So that's a political decision for another sovereign country. My job is to create good government and opportunity so that people can make their economic decision, not just on a moral position of patriotism, but on the ability to feed their family. This does not happen with a snap of a finger or overnight. Okay? So if you were to take some of the pain points that would push people to migrate, the ability to get a job, then a good salary, infrastructure, not just roads, but world-class infrastructure. You want to be able to go to the cinema, go to good restaurants. You want to be able to have, good landscape and streetscapes to feel like you're enjoying modernity and you don't have to leave here to go somewhere else to do that. Places clean and so forth. Good healthcare, good education, and of course, a peaceful society. Now let's look at all of those things. The lowest unemployment rate in Jamaica's history since my administration. We're practically full employment. All right, so the employment issue is not a problem now. The problem is we just can't find people to work. Why? Because there's heavy migration. And as you have heard, the birth rate is below replacement. So these are social issues on the horizon that we have to address, all right, if our economy is to grow. The issue of higher wages. Higher wages don't just come because I am demanding higher wages. Higher wages are tied to productivity, and productivity is tied to innovation and the integration of technology, and that means better management, that means higher skills. So to get higher wages, you have to get higher skills, higher innovation, and better strategic management of resources.
Sometimes when you listen to the PNP supporters, they talk as if, and this is a MO of the PNP, they will strategically put somebody in a position, even though they know that that person is not qualified for that position. Saying they will put that person there because it serves their best interests. And that is what held down Jamaica for many years. Even today, you'll find somebody in a position of power in Jamaica that have no qualification for being there. Hence why that either industry or whatever you call it, ministry, well, I don't believe that there's any ministry in Jamaica today that is headed by anybody that is unqualified. you know, over the last 10 years, we would have gotten rid of that person. However, for many years, especially in that 19 years, that is what the PNP did. They put persons in position of power that serve their best interests, although that person was not educated or even qualified to be in that position. See? That is what you find is happening in America. Today, under the Trump administration, there are persons being put in positions of power that is not qualified, and that is why you're getting the kind of result out of America that we're getting. So, thank God we have Andrew Holness, who is building out our sectors, building our infrastructure, building jobs, creating jobs. You cannot work in a bank if you cannot do mathematics. And that is what the Prime Minister is trying to tell the Jamaican people. You can't want bank pay and bank salary with infant school education. Get up and go educate yourself. If you work on a Chinese or in a Chinese haberdashery or wholesale or wherever, see, get up, go pay if you want CXC and do one. If you can't only manage one at a time, do one. Next year, you do another one, and the next year, you do another one. That's a tree that get up on the ladder. See? Nobody is putting down anything for you. We family, they hardly have nothing for dead left give because they themselves never accumulated anything in their entire life. We have a Prime Minister now that is saying, look, you can get it, but here is how you get it. Here is a skill. Here is some education. This is how you will get it. People still sit down and say, the government not do nothing because through them can get $2,500 in a brown envelope. You know, careless. You know, workless. And anybody will have that mindset. You know, is a set a disgrace. See? At time now, you know, change you know, way of thinking. See? And if you never get it, and if you can't get it, want it for your children. Want it for your grandchildren. See? It is important that we start to build our nation. See? And put persons who are strategic. See? Put persons who are necessary in positions of power. So that we can build on the progress that is left. When Andrew Holness can't do that forever, time will come when he will have to go. But we must continue to educate our persons and to put them where they need to go for strategic purposes, to continue to build on all of the successes that Andrew Holness would have left behind. And the PNP in its current form today have nothing, I beg your pardon, the People's National Criminal Organization have nothing to offer to the Jamaican people right now. And that is the honest to God truth. Saying even PNP knows this. Even they know it. But they refuse to acknowledge it because they don't like Andrew Holness or they don't like the Labour Party. So they want to see the country tear down because of that would happen should we put in a person like Mark Golding who have no understanding, who does not understand a pokey from a peg a pear. You remember what I'm telling you? And had he been there, Jamaica would have already been tear down. I think I just see my wife Papi in a while ago, you know. Good morning to you, baby. You're late again. You bite out the next thing? Eh? Fly Aubrey, big up yourself. Marsha, big up yourself as well. Mama Sonia, good morning. See? Mama something, big up yourself, good morning. Who else me not call out yet? Jacqueline, good morning, big up yourself. McKay, big up yourself as well. Errol, big up yourself. Dark Matter, big up yourself. See? Richard, big up yourself. Seymour, big up. We continue to listen to our Prime Minister.
And better strategic management of resources. We're working on that. Then crime. Clearly, that is where we have made the biggest impact. We have reduced murders, which is the ultimate expression, the ultimate form of violence. And we're keeping that going. And the objective now is to attain peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but peace is the resolution of conflict.
What you're saying, Mr. Prime Minister, is that your administration has successfully been dealing with the push factor that would drive people
Yeah.
to look towards the US.
Yeah, and as I travel, you know, one of the things I get is that people have been saying, you know, but I'm going to get my Jamaican passport. If you look at the number of applications for Jamaican passport from overseas, it has just increased almost 100-fold, more than that. So people are beginning to look back at Jamaica seriously to come back. Now, for those persons who have, you know, genuinely, there's always a certain number of persons who genuinely want to migrate. They want access. You know, we don't train nuclear scientists here, for example. They might want to take up a course in nuclear science. They have to migrate to that, whatever it is. So those are persons who are going to be affected by this, without question. And of course, we do have an obligation to pursue diplomatic channels. But we must always bear in mind that's a sovereign decision by a sovereign country. And, you know, we make no pronouncements on it other than we will use our diplomatic efforts to restore normalcy. But bear in mind the position. We must build our own country. And we need to stop this kind of view that, you know, it's so easy to say, you know, there's a kind of cynicism, but this is no reality. Countries may very well follow suit. There is a growing public.
By the way, my people, the Zozos that the PNP was so adamantly against, the government of Trinidad have decided to employ the same tactic in Trinidad to get down murders, crime and violence in Trinidad. So the Zozos that the PNP said was unsuccessful, which we are now seeing that it was very successful. The Trinidadian government is now applying said Zozo to get down murders in Trinidad. Kadian, big up yourself. Cochetta, big up yourself. Marcia Monroe, good morning. And Jakey, big up yourself. Antia, big up yourself. Good morning.
View in many developed countries. If I don't know if Jamaicans follow international affairs, but you're seeing a growing trend for countries to want to stem immigration. So we need to look.
There's no enthusiasm on your part to really lobby the Trump administration.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I've said.
Jamaicans to be exempted.
That's not what I've said. I've said we will pursue diplomatic channels. We definitely will do that. But
so we now own bank Cochetta, our bank of Jamaica be. We now have BOJ, our own bank that we own central bank. But we have to continue to build our resources, Cochetta. So once we build and build, you know, we will eventually have loads of Jamaican owned banks. And some of the foreign ones then will pack up eventually leave. You know, but the reason why we don't have a lot of Jamaican owned banks was because of FinZac. Remember that we had many Jamaican owned businesses, included banks, that was teared down and ripped apart by the Patterson government in the 1990s during the FinZac era, you know, and some of those persons still have not recovered till today. And the PNP would have invited in loads of foreign companies to come and take over, you know, because they were getting kickbacks from it and they wanted to buy, you know, buy out people of Jamaica to stay in power. So we have to remember that, Cochetta, you know, that is why we do not have a lot of Jamaican owned banks today. We had them in up to the 1990s, and you know, yes, I am sure we will try again. I am sure as the conditions allow for it, which they are now, we will eventually get back there, Cochetta. See, but remember that is the reason. Just a reminder that is the reason why we don't today, because of the PNP and their mismanagement of the Jamaican economy. They're a big bunch, a donkey. One big load, a dog diddy. Sorry, dog diddy stinker than donkey diddy. That is what the PNP is, you know.
We are going to pursue even more, making our country the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise families, and retire in paradise. I think that is a greater objective that we must do.
Were you caught by surprise when you saw that Jamaica was included on the list?
I don't want to say too much, but one of the purposes of government is to do the periscope.
As me remember something, I want to add this in as well. Prime Minister get any further, let me just say this. And I am speaking directly to Prime Minister and Daryl Vaz now. I believe that the government should embark on a program. Now that we have all kind of solar systems that you can buy, you know, I believe that the government should embark on a program now to lit or to get light on every major thoroughfare, every major road. So, for example, if you're driving on the coast of Negril, when you get to places like Sheffield, you will realize that there's no light on the road. When you come through Sheffield, you'll find light straight up to Negril. When you drive out of Negril on the coastline going through to Hanover, you'll find that a large section of the road have no light. Right? Same thing when you get round to Sandy Bay, you realize that a large section of the road until you hit one of the local township have no light. Right? And vice versa. When you're coming from Kingston and come through some of the township, you realize that there are large sections of areas that are not lit. We have all kind of solar things that we can get now. And saying that to say this, I see a lot of lights on the road, especially in the night times, that are not legal. I am sure they are not. To kind of go after some of these people and to quell down some of these illegal lights that are on vehicles, my people, I'm a Prime Minister and my Transport Minister. We have to first get all of the roads well lit. So get light on them. Because when I'm driving at nights in Jamaica, oftentimes I am dazzled. I can't see the pothole. And enough pothole down there, people have to serve them. So imagine one of them bright light there come, there's a pothole and me try to serve it. Me I go probably end up in another vehicle. Or if me not see it, me I go end up and chop a tire. Or mash up my rim, mash up the front end of the vehicle or whatever. See? So, to quell down some of these illegal lights that I am seeing, and because I see man I run fog lamp and they don't live in a no era with fog there. In England, that would come with a fine should the police stop you with it and yeah, dazzle somebody, you get a fine and 3 points on your license. Now I understand why persons put them on their vehicle, because where they live, it is not properly lit and people need to see where them go. But it is dazzling other drivers. Meaning, if I, for example, may I go down the road and the road curve to the right and you're coming and you're like dazzle me, how am I going to see that the road curve to the right? I might end up over a cliff, over a precipice, or even the sea. See? And these are things that is actually or have actually happened in Jamaica because of the bright light. People can't see and they meet in an accident. It has happened. So in order to quell down some of these things, my Prime Minister and my Transport Minister, get the areas that are not lit. And if it is lit, then we probably not need to run the bright lights. Because people are run fog lamp and them also have on them full beam in your eye. How are you to see at nights in Jamaica? You know? Oftentimes you get home only by a miracle in Jamaica. So in order to quell down some of these accidents and some of these fatalities, this is a major factor. Get the streets and the roads well lit in areas that are not lit. And then if a man either drive within fog lamp, at least he can put on the high beam and adjust his fog lamp alone. I got dazzle you then. See? But when you come with a full beam and your fog lamp, me can't see because the two of them have shine on my eye and me can't see. See? So we need to do something about that. Right? We continue to listen to the Prime Minister.
Hope. To look, come out of the water and look to the horizon and see what is coming. So we already saw what could be the future. Mm-hmm. And so we've been planning and working assiduously towards that. Look, it's easy to say go on and lobby, but you also have to prepare in mind that sometimes these things are called negotiations. And so what are you going to give? What are you going to get? So, the Jamaican public, I think, to understand that we are in a different era of global and geopolitical, geoeconomic geomilitary.
And this is not happening only by citizens, you know. One morning, me and Shanice go to town, me and my whole family go to town, and me way outside of Savlamar. There was a police car driving, and you know, upon the new siren, them they have some bright white light that goes all around it. And can you believe that the police is driving in front of me with a bright light all around the thing, lighting up the thing? Me can't see nothing none at all, so me have to hold my face. See? And when I got a chance to go around him, I went around him and I slowed down. And Shanice tell him, say, the light too bright, it a blind way. And, you know, I head off. So I don't get to see if they turn it off or whatever. But the police is also doing this as well, my people. Also, the soldier them will drive a government vehicle them. Or anybody will drive government vehicle, none at all. I don't know if they're always in an emergency or what, but them the people, they not drive safe, they not drive slow, they not take time, they not do nothing. The government need to do something about that as well, because when government vehicle lick down people and lick people vehicle, the government is not inclined to fix it. That is my understanding. The government not have to fix it. So we need to get them to drive safely and drive within the bounds of the law as well. See? So we have whole heap of fixing to do in the country, in whole heap of different places, my people. See, we are not criticizing the government per se, but you know, we see these things on a daily basis and we have to talk about them. See, while there's great things happening, there's still a lot of things to do. I want to see them done as citizens. See?
It requires a certain
Big up in the
smarts, a certain foresight and thoughtfulness to manage the process to keep Jamaica safe. Bear in mind, in all of this, Jamaica is still, one of the strongest countries institutionally, with one of the strongest economies that still has access all over the world.
One of your predecessors, one of your fellow party leaders, former Prime Minister Golding, in commenting on this, said the man who sits in the Oval Office, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Donald Trump, is a megalomaniac. Would you agree?
As Prime Minister of Jamaica, and I want to repeat that, my job is to keep Jamaica safe. We respect the policies and programs of sovereign nations. If they have a negative impact on us, we obviously will use our diplomatic channels and other channels to bring our case, to lobby, to negotiate, to make sure that the best interest of Jamaica is always pursued and maintained.
Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't agree with him?
No, I have no views on what was said by anyone else on this matter. My own view is that President Trump is, pursuing a strategic agenda, which I don't think it is a surprise to many. It's well documented. You can read several of the international articles and several of the think tanks and what they have published. So you understand what it is that they are about. We should not be fazed by this. And I think that is where the challenge is. There is an expectation that the global order is always going to be the way we thought it was. The global order changes over time. These policies are not new policies. They were pursued in the early 1920s. They were pursued before. So what we must do as a small, developing country is to be able to position ourselves to take advantage of opportunities that are created and protect ourselves from threats. All right. We should not get diverted into ideological debates, which are just a smokescreen and diversionary from the main issue at hand. At the end of this, we want our economy to grow. We want to remain peace. We must rebuild the areas of Jamaica that were damaged. We must be more resilient. if you were to take the era of the 70s, when we diverted into all kinds of ideological schisms and isms, anyone who went through that today, reflecting on it, could not say that it benefited us. No. And so that is what.
Question for any PNP in the chat this morning. As the Prime Minister said, if you had lived through the 70s, or anybody at all can answer this. If you had lived through the 70s, can you say today that what happened in the 70s under Michael Manley benefited Jamaica today? Can anybody say that with a straight face? Make you not tell me in the comment section. Me I wait, me I listen. You not tell me if what Michael Manley did in the 70s benefited the Jamaican masses today. Tell me.
I have learned, having gone through and seen it. Obviously, I was a youngster then, but I was around then, and in the 80s, right? I am not going to make that mistake, right? Jamaica will be, as I said, on steady, solid, strategic, well-led grounds.
Prime Minister Holness, thank you much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good.
So I get one definitely not and one play and learn. So maybe the answer is definitely not. We have not benefited anything from Michael Manley. You know, I heard my cousin last Michael Manley gave away free land, and I said, do you have a title for that land? The answer was no, by the way. So that land that Michael Manley gave away to you, did you get it? Did he give it to you? Was it yours? Or was it government land that they can tell if you move off at any time? It does not benefit them politically. So nobody was given any free land by Michael Manley, because only the people that got titles for them got them. Majority of persons up till this day, 50 odd years later, still do not own a title for the piece of land that Michael Manley gave to them. See? And it is only after 60 years that you can get title for some of those lands. See? So, bear in mind that. So, nothing that Michael Manley did not benefit the masses during that time. And even now. See? He have completely ripped down and tear down the country. And the trajectory that the country was on, had we stayed on that course, Jamaica would have been a first world country from the 80s. I can tell you now, 100%. See? My people, I'm going to love you now and leave you now at this juncture. See, I will soon you for this evening segment. Right? We have gone over, I believe, 800 episodes by this. You know, I have put in a lot of work, my people. I am sure there are persons out there that have done more than me, but I have put in a lot of hours, and 2 hours, 3 hours even. See? So, we continue to build back the program. As I said, I was in Jamaica. I am from Westmoreland. So, the situation was really bad down there as it relates to the signal. I had several Starlink passwords. And, you know, I believe too many people probably was using the Starlink. So, you know, I could hardly upload or download anything. And when I did get stable connection, I did try to come live. But it did not work out how I planned it, you know, my people. However, we're still here. We're going to build back resilience in the program as Jamaica build back resilience in Jamaica. I am sure everything will go back to normal in short order. So my next trip to Jamaica, you know, or my next time home, I am sure we'll have better signal and we'll continue the daily running of the program. Saying so, thank you very much. Big up all 145 persons who is still here. We did not get to the 100 thumbs up that we asked for per live. We got to 80. 80 is still good. Thank you very much. For the person who is asking if I am PNP or JLP, I guess you do not get the memo. You know, I guess you do not see the green hat and what the green hat represents. You know, but, you know, big up on yourself nonetheless. And big up to all new subscribers that subscribed between yesterday and today. And I will soon. Big up to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is the best, my people. Love our son-in-law. Bad. You know, and me love my mother-in-law. Bad. You know, best mother-in-law me ever have. So big up yourself, mommy. Me can't wait to see you again. You know, and we continue to do the work, my people. And, you know, Jamaica will build back stronger. I'll soon know this evening. Big up on yourself. Much love. Show labor rights.